The kick landed with a dull, cruel thud. It sent the old woman stumbling backward, her bare heels sliding on wet concrete as rain lashed her face. She cried out, not loud, not dramatic, just a thin, broken sound that vanished into the storm. People froze. A few gasped. Most pretended not to see, and then the door opened behind the kicker. A man stepped in, tall and calm, his shoes clean despite the mud outside. His eyes swept the room once, slow and sharp, and stopped on the old woman shaking in the rain. Silence fell so hard it felt heavy. No one knew his name yet, but everyone felt it. And in that moment, right before he spoke, the market seemed to hold its breath. The rain had started early that morning, the kind of rain that does not ask for permission. It fell thick and fast, turning the narrow market lanes into rivers. Umbrellas flipped inside out, traders dragged sacks closer. Customers ran, laughing at first, then coughing as water soaked their clothes. In the heart of Oyingbo Market, the store called Bright Choice Fabrics glowed with warm light. Bolts of cloth lined the walls, dry and safe. It was the kind of store people rushed into when the sky broke open. That was where the old woman went. She moved slowly, her steps unsure. Her gown was torn at the hem and dark with dirt, now darker with rain. Water dripped from her thin grey hair, tangled and loose around her face. Her hands shook as she reached the doorway. "Please," she said, her voice soft, "let me stand here, just until the rain slows." The woman behind the counter, young, neat and impatient, looked up. Her name was Kemi. She wore a clean blouse and a tight smile that never reached her eyes. Kemi frowned. She said, "You cannot stand here." The old woman blinked, rain sliding down her cheeks like tears. "I won't touch anything," she whispered. "I will just stand." Customers inside shifted. One man glanced at the door, then looked away. A woman clutched her bag closer. Kemi stepped forward. "Did you hear me?" she snapped. "Go away. You will dirty the place." The old woman took one step back, then another. The rain swallowed her whole. She stood there, right outside the door, water running down her arms, her shoulders bent as if the sky itself was heavy. For a moment it seemed the market would forget her. Then a truck horn blared. Someone laughed. Life tried to move on. The old woman did not. She waited, her eyes searched faces, one by one, hoping for kindness, hoping for someone to say, "It's okay, come in." But no one did. Kemi watched her from the doorway, annoyed. The old woman's presence felt like a stain she could not wipe away. "Madam," Kemi said loudly, "I said go." The old woman did not move. That was when Kemi lost her patience. She stepped out, rain splashing up her legs. "I said go," she shouted and kicked. The kick was not hard enough to break bones. It was hard enough to humiliate. The old woman cried out and fell to one knee, her palm slapping the wet ground. Mud streaked her skin. Her cry cut through the rain, thin and sharp. People stared. Some shook their heads. Some whispered. No one helped. The old woman looked up at Kemi, eyes wide and wet. "Please," she said again, "I have nowhere to go." Kemi scoffed. "Then that is your problem." She turned back toward the store, and the door opened. A man stepped inside. He wore a simple dark coat, but it fit him perfectly. His hair was neat, his face was calm, but his eyes were not soft. They were the kind of eyes that noticed everything. He stood there, rain dripping from the edge of the roof, and looked at the old woman on the ground. Then he looked at Kemi. The market went quiet. Kemi felt it first. A strange chill crawled up her spine. She straightened her blouse and forced a smile. "Welcome, sir," she said. "Please, come in. Be careful, the floor is wet." The man did not move. "Did you just kick her?" he asked. His voice was low, not angry, worse than angry, controlled. Kemi laughed nervously. "Sir, you don't understand. She was disturbing customers." The old woman tried to stand. Her legs trembled. She sank back down, rain soaking her hair again. The man's gaze did not leave her. "What is your name?" he asked the old woman gently. She hesitated. My name is Mama Aduni." He nodded once. Then he turned back to Kemi. "Get her a chair." Kemi's smile froze. "Sir?" "I said," he repeated, "get her a chair." People inside the store stared. One woman's mouth fell open. Kemi's cheeks burned. Sir, she cannot sit inside. The fabrics. The man took one step forward. The room felt smaller. I will pay for whatever gets dirty, he said. Now, the chair. Kemi's hands shook as she dragged a plastic chair from the corner and placed it near the door. Mama Aduni sat slowly, her breath uneven, her shoulders still shaking. The man removed his coat and held it out. Take this. Mama Aduni stared at it, then at him. Sir, Please, he said. She wrapped the coat around herself. Warmth spread across her thin body, and her eyes filled again. Thank you, she whispered. The man turned to Kemi once more. You work here? He asked. Yes, sir, Kemi said quickly. I manage the store. He looked around at the shelves, the clean fabrics, the customers watching like statues. Call your boss, he said. Kemi blinked. My boss? Now. She fumbled for her phone. Outside, the rain slowed just a little. Inside, the tension thickened, because the man had not raised his voice. And somehow that made it worse. Then someone whispered from the back of the store. Is that him? Another voice followed, hushed and shocked. That man, he looks like Chief Adeyemi. A ripple of fear moved through the room. Kemi's phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. The man turned his head slightly and smiled, just a little. Tell him, he said calmly, that the owner of this market is standing in his store. The rain outside kept falling, but inside bright choice fabrics, time stopped, and no one could move. No one spoke. The words owner of this market hung in the air like thunder trapped inside a room. Kemi's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her phone lay on the floor, screen glowing, buzzing softly as if reminding her that time was still moving, though it did not feel like it. Mama Aduni sat on the chair near the door, wrapped in the man's coat. Her chest rose and fell slowly now, but her eyes were wide with confusion. She clutched the coat tightly, afraid that if she loosened her grip, everything, warmth, safety, kindness, would disappear. The man stood quietly, hands by his sides, rainwater still dripping from the edge of the roof behind him. He did not rush, he did not shout. That frightened them more. A customer finally found his voice. Sir, are you serious? The man turned and looked at him. Very. Another woman covered her mouth. Jesus! Kemi bent quickly and picked up her phone, her fingers trembling so badly she pressed the wrong button twice. She swallowed hard and dialed. Hello? A voice answered. Sir, Kemi stammered, stepping away from the customers. There's a man here. He says he owns the market. There was a pause on the line. Then the voice changed. Put him on. Kemi's legs felt weak as she walked back and held out the phone with both hands. Sir, he wants to speak with you. The man took the phone. Yes, he said calmly. It's me. Silence. Then even the people closest could hear the panic coming through the phone. Chief Adeyemi, the voice whispered. Sir, I didn't know you were coming today. I didn't announce, Chief Adeyemi replied. I was nearby. His eyes moved briefly to Mama Aduni. And I saw something. He listened for a moment, then handed the phone back to Kemi. He's on his way, he said. Kemi's knees nearly gave out. Customers began whispering openly now. That's him. The billionaire. The one that bought this whole market. My God. Mama Aduni looked up at the man standing beside her. Sir, she said softly, please, I don't want trouble. Chief Adeyemi crouched down in front of her so they were eye level. His movement was slow, careful, like he did not want to scare her. There is no trouble, he said gently, only truth. She studied his face, rain lines still visible on his forehead. Why are you helping me? She asked. He did not answer right away. Instead, he asked, where were you going before the rain started? Mama Aduni hesitated. I was going to see my sister's old house. Maybe someone would let me sleep under the roof. A sharp breath moved through the crowd. Chief Adeyemi nodded. And before that, she looked down at her feet. I sell roasted corn sometimes, but today, no money. The rain chased everyone. Kemi stood frozen behind the counter, her face pale, her earlier anger now replaced with fear so strong it made her dizzy. Chief Adeyemi stood back up. Everyone, he said, raising his voice just enough to be heard, continue your shopping. No one moved. He sighed softly. Please. Slowly, awkwardly, people pretended to look at fabrics, but no one really cared about cloth anymore. All eyes kept drifting back to the old woman in the chair. Minutes later, a black SUV pulled up outside. The rain slowed again, as if curious. 2 security men stepped out, scanning the area. Then a well-dressed man rushed in, his shoes splashing water everywhere. "Sir," he said, breathless. "Sir, I came as fast as I could." Chief Adeyemi turned to him. "Good." The man, Mr. Sola, the overall manager, looked around, confused. Then his eyes landed on Mama Aduni, and then on Kemi. "What happened here?" Mr. Sola asked. Before anyone could answer, a sharp voice broke in. "She refused to leave," Kemi said quickly, her words tumbling out. "She was disturbing customers. I only tried to protect the store." The air went cold. Mama Aduni's shoulders shook. She looked at the ground, ashamed, like she had been caught doing something wrong. Chief Adeyemi raised a hand. "Kemi," he said quietly, "step outside." Kemi blinked. "Sir?" "Outside. Now." She obeyed. Rain splashed her shoes as she stood under the awning, heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears. Inside, Chief Adeyemi turned to Mr. Sola. "Tell me," he said, "what is our first rule in this market?" Mr. Sola swallowed. "Respect, sir." "And the second?" "Dignity for all, sir, no matter their condition." Chief Adeyemi nodded. He looked at Mama Aduni. "Did you hear that?" She nodded slowly. Then he looked at the customers. "Did you?" No one answered, because now shame had joined the fear. Chief Adeyemi walked to the door and stood beside Kemi. "Kemi," he said calmly, "did you kick her?" Kemi opened her mouth, closed it, then nodded, tears forming. "Yes, sir." The rain seemed louder. "Why?" he asked. She looked dirty," Kemi whispered. "I didn't want trouble." Chief Adeyemi studied her face for a long moment. Then he said something that made the market gasp. "Bring a bucket of water." Everyone froze. "A bucket?" Mr. Sola asked carefully. "Yes," Chief Adeyemi replied, "and soap." Kemi's breath caught. Mama Aduni looked up sharply. Fear flashed across her face. "Sir, please." Chief Adeyemi turned back to her quickly. "Not for you," he said gently. Then he faced Kemi again. "You kicked a woman already beaten by life," he said. "Now you will learn." The bucket arrived. So did the soap. Rainwater mixed with silence. Chief Adeyemi pointed to the ground in front of the store. "Kneel," he said. Kemi's eyes widened in horror. "Sir, please." The crowd leaned in. Phones came out. Mama Aduni stood up suddenly. "Please," she cried, "leave her. I don't want this." Chief Adeyemi looked at Mama Aduni. Then he looked at Kemi and said words that made everyone's heart stop. "This is only the beginning." And as Kemi slowly bent her knees, the rain began to fall harder again. Kemi's knees touched the wet ground. A sharp gasp rippled through the store. Someone dropped a roll of fabric. Another person whispered, "Ah, this is too much." Rainwater splashed up as Kemi knelt, her clean blouse darkening at the hem. Her hands shook so badly she had to press them against her thighs to steady herself. Tears rolled freely now, mixing with rain on her cheeks. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "Please, sir." "I'm sorry." Chief Adeyemi did not raise his voice. He did not smile either. He simply looked at her. "Sorry comes after understanding," he said. "Do you understand what you did?" Kemi nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." "Explain it," he said. She swallowed. I treated her like she was nothing." Mama Aduni stood near the chair, clutching the coat tighter around her body. Her eyes were wide, her lips trembling. Chief Adeyemi turned slightly so everyone could hear. "Look at her," he said, pointing gently toward Mama Aduni. "What did you see when she walked in?" Kemi hesitated. "Speak," he said. "I saw dirt," she whispered. "I saw trouble." "And did you see a human being?" he asked. The question hit the crowd like a slap. Kemi broke down completely. "No," she cried, "I didn't." Chief Adeyemi nodded slowly. "That," he said, "is the real crime." The rain slowed again, as if listening. He turned to Mr. Solar. How long has she worked here? 3 years, sir, Mr. Solar replied. And how many complaints? Chief Adeyemi asked. Mr. Solar hesitated. A few, sir, about attitude. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Chief Adeyemi sighed. I built this market so people could earn with dignity, he said, not so power could turn them into monsters. Mama Aduni suddenly stepped forward. Please, she said softly, she has learned. Let her stand. Everyone turned to her. Kemi looked up in shock. Even through tears, she could not believe what she was hearing. Chief Adeyemi looked at Mama Aduni for a long moment. His eyes softened. You are kinder than most, he said. Then he raised his hand. Kemi, he said, stand up. Relief rushed through the crowd. Some people nodded, others whispered prayers. Kemi struggled to her feet, soaked, shaking, embarrassed. But Chief Adeyemi was not done. You stood in comfort and kicked suffering, he said. Now you will stand and listen. He turned to the crowd. Who here has ever been chased away because they looked poor, he asked. Silence. Then slowly a young boy raised his hand. Then an old man. Then a woman holding a baby. Hands began to rise. The market felt different now, heavy, honest. Chief Adeyemi nodded. Mama Aduni, he said, come. She stepped forward cautiously. Tell them, he said gently, how long you have lived like this. Mama Aduni's voice trembled as she spoke. Since my husband died, she said, 10 years ago. A hush fell. My children, they moved away. I don't know where they are. I sell what I can. Some days I eat. Some days I don't. Someone sniffed loudly. I only wanted to stay dry, she finished. Kemi covered her face with her hands. Chief Adeyemi turned back to her. You kicked a woman who has already been kicked by life, he said again. So now you will do something else. Kemi looked up, fear filling her eyes. Anything, she whispered. Anything. Chief Adeyemi pointed to the bucket and soap. You will wash her feet. The words dropped like a stone into water. The crowd gasped. Mama Aduni froze. Sir, no, please. Chief Adeyemi raised a hand to calm her. Only if you agree, he said. No force. Mama Aduni looked at Kemi. Kemi dropped to her knees again, this time without being told. I'm begging you, she cried. Please forgive me. Mama Aduni hesitated. Her hands shook. Slowly she nodded. Kemi picked up the bucket. Her fingers trembled as she poured water gently over Mama Aduni's feet. Mud washed away, running across the floor. She scrubbed softly with the soap, tears falling into the water. I'm sorry, she kept whispering. I'm sorry. The market was silent. When she finished, Mama Aduni wiped her eyes. Chief Adeyemi helped Mama Aduni back into the chair. Then he turned to Mr. Solar. From today, he said, Mama Aduni will not sleep on the street. A wave of shock moved through the crowd. Arrange a place for her, Chief Adeyemi continued. Food, medical care. Mama Aduni gasped. Sir, that is too much? Chief Adeyemi shook his head. It is not enough. Kemi stared at him, hope and fear mixing in her chest. And Kemi, Chief Adeyemi said. Yes, sir, she replied quickly. You are suspended. The word hit her hard. Sir, please. Without pay, he added. Her face crumpled. For now, he said calmly, your future depends on what happens next. She looked up sharply. Next? Chief Adeyemi's phone vibrated in his pocket. He glanced at the screen. His expression changed. Mr. Solar leaned closer. Sir? Chief Adeyemi looked at Mama Aduni, then at Kemi, then at the crowd. And he said quietly, the rain did not bring Mama Aduni here by chance. Everyone leaned forward. Someone else is coming, he added. And as another black car pulled up outside the market, Mama Aduni's eyes widened in sudden recognition. Her lips parted, and she whispered a name that froze the blood in Chief Adeyemi's veins. Mama Aduni's whisper barely rose above the sound of the rain, but Chief Adeyemi heard it. So did Mr. Solar. So did Kemi, still kneeling on the wet floor, her hands shaking. The name Mama Aduni had spoken hung in the air like smoke after fire. Who? Chief Adeyemi asked quietly. Mama Aduni's eyes stayed fixed on the entrance of the market. Her face had gone pale, as if all the strength in her body had suddenly drained away. "I know that car," she said slowly. "I have seen it before." Outside, the black car idled. The rain bounced off its roof in steady beats. The engine did not turn off. People pressed closer to the doorway, curiosity pulling them like a rope. Kemi stood up slowly, forgotten for a moment. "Mama, who is it?" she asked, her voice small. Mama Aduni swallowed. "Someone from my past." The car door opened. A man stepped out, holding a large umbrella. He was tall, well-built, and dressed in an expensive suit. His shoes were polished so brightly they reflected the grey sky. He walked with confidence, the kind that came from years of power. The market went quiet again. The man stopped just outside the store and scanned the crowd. His eyes moved from face to face, then froze when they landed on Mama Aduni. The umbrella slipped slightly in his hand. "Mama?" he said. Mama Aduni gripped the arms of the chair. "Yes," she replied softly, "it is me." A sharp breath went through the crowd. The man stepped closer, disbelief written all over his face. "I thought you were dead." Chief Adeyemi's eyes narrowed. "Do you know this woman?" he asked. The man nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." "Then introduce yourself," Chief Adeyemi said. The man straightened, suddenly aware of where he was and who stood before him. "My name is Kunle Adebayo," he said. "I am a businessman." A murmur followed his words. Mama Aduni laughed weakly. "You were more than that," she said. "You were my son." The market exploded into noise. What? Her son? Jesus! Kemi staggered back as if she had been slapped. Chief Adeyemi raised a hand and silence returned. "Explain," he said to Kunle. Kunle's face tightened. He looked away from Mama Aduni, shame flashing across his eyes. "I left," he said. "Many years ago. I was angry, poor, hungry. I thought leaving her behind was the only way to survive." Mama Aduni nodded slowly. "You promised to return." Kunle's voice dropped. "I was ashamed. When I became successful, I thought it was too late." The rain grew heavier. Kemi covered her mouth. Her eyes darted between Mama Aduni and Kunle, horror growing inside her. She had kicked a woman whose son stood there in a suit worth more than her yearly salary. Chief Adeyemi studied Kunle carefully. "You built wealth," he said, "but you abandoned your mother." Kunle bowed his head. "Yes, sir." Mama Aduni tried to stand, but her legs failed her again. Chief Adeyemi quickly moved to support her. "Why now?" Mama Aduni asked, her voice breaking. "Why today?" Kunle wiped his face. "I came to this market because I heard you might be around here. I have been looking quietly." Her eyes filled with tears. "You saw me suffer?" "No," he said quickly. "I swear, if I had." His words failed him. Kemi suddenly stepped forward and dropped to the ground again. "I'm sorry," she cried, her voice cracking. I didn't know." "I didn't know she was." Chief Adeyemi cut her off sharply. "That does not matter," he said. "Kindness does not wait for family connections." The words struck hard. Kunle turned to Kemi slowly. His eyes were cold. "You kicked my mother." Kemi shrank back. "Please, I'm sorry." Mama Aduni raised a trembling hand. "Stop," she said. "No fighting." Kunle knelt in front of her instead. "I failed you," he said, his voice breaking. "I left you in the world's hands." Mama Aduni placed her hand on his head. "You came back," she said. "That is something." Chief Adeyemi watched them closely, his face unreadable. Then he spoke. "Kunle," he said, "stand." Kunle obeyed. "You and I," Chief Adeyemi continued, "have business to discuss." Kunle looked surprised. "Sir?" Chief Adeyemi gestured toward the crowd. "Your mother has lived here in pain while you built success elsewhere." The market watched. The market stayed silent. People shifted uncomfortably. "This story," Chief Adeyemi said, "is bigger than one kick." He turned to Mr. Sola. "Clear the store." Mr. Sola nodded quickly, ushering customers outside. Whispers followed them into the rain. Soon only a few people remained. Chief Adeyemi, Mama Aduni, Kunle, Kemi, and the security men. The door closed. The rain drummed loudly now. Chief Adeyemi faced Kunle. If you truly want forgiveness, he said, you will not start with money. Kunle nodded. Tell me what to do. Chief Adeyemi looked at Mama Aduni, then at Kemi, then back at Kunle. You will listen, he said, to everything your mother endured, and you will answer one question honestly. Kunle swallowed. What question? Sir. Chief Adeyemi's eyes hardened. Why did it take a public humiliation, he said slowly, for you to remember your own blood? Kunle opened his mouth, but before he could speak, Mama Aduni suddenly clutched her chest. Mama! Kunle shouted, rushing forward. She gasped, her breath short and uneven, the room filled with panic. Chief Adeyemi snapped his fingers. Call a doctor, now! Kemi stood frozen, guilt crashing over her like waves. Mama Aduni's eyes rolled slightly. Her grip tightened on Kunle's hand, and then she collapsed. Mama! Kunle's shout cut through the store like a blade. Mama Aduni's body went limp in his arms, her head falling against his chest. Her eyes were half open, unfocused. Her breathing came in short, weak gasps. For a moment, no one moved. Then Chief Adeyemi's voice broke the panic. Lay her flat, he ordered. Gently. Kunle obeyed, lowering his mother to the floor with shaking hands. His expensive suit soaked up water and dirt, but he did not care. He knelt beside her, holding her hand like a frightened child. I'm here, he kept saying. Mama, I'm here now, please. Mr. Solar was already on the phone, shouting directions. Yes, Oyingbo Market. Emergency. Old woman collapsed. Please hurry. Kemi stood frozen near the counter, her whole body trembling. This was no longer fear of losing her job. This was something deeper, something heavier. I did this, her heart screamed. I pushed her into this. Chief Adeyemi crouched beside Mama Aduni. He placed 2 fingers gently on her neck, then looked up. She is alive, he said calmly, but she is weak. Kunle's eyes filled with tears. This is my fault, he said. All of it. Chief Adeyemi did not argue. Instead, he said, Talk to her. Kunle bent close to his mother's ear. His voice broke. Mama, please forgive me. I should never have left. I should have come back sooner. I was afraid. But that is no excuse. Mama Aduni's lips moved slightly. He leaned closer. I'm here. I won't go again. I promise. Her fingers twitched in his hand. Outside, the sound of sirens grew louder, fighting through the rain. Minutes felt like hours. When the paramedics rushed in, the market breathed again. They worked quickly, lifting Mama Aduni onto a stretcher, checking her pulse, placing oxygen over her nose. She will make it, one of them said, but she needs care. Proper care. Kunle nodded again and again. Anything, whatever it takes. As they wheeled her toward the door, Mama Aduni's eyes fluttered open. She looked at Kunle, then at Chief Adeyemi. Then, slowly, her gaze moved to Kemi. Their eyes met. Kemi dropped to her knees. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice barely there. I'm so sorry. Mama Aduni studied her for a long moment. Then she did something no one expected. She smiled, a small, tired smile, but real. Learn, she said softly. Those were the last words she spoke before the stretcher rolled out into the rain. The door closed behind them. The store was silent. Kunle stood slowly. His face was wet, not just from rain. Chief Adeyemi faced him. Your mother will stay in the best hospital in the city, he said. That is settled. Thank you, sir, Kunle replied, but that is not enough. Chief Adeyemi nodded. Good. He turned to Kemi. Kemi, he said. She flinched. Yes. Sir. You will not return to this store, he said calmly. Her heart sank. I understand. But, he continued, you will not be thrown away either. She looked up, confused. You will attend training, Chief Adeyemi said, on human dignity, on service. You will volunteer every weekend for 1 year, at shelters, at hospitals. Tears streamed down her face. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is not mercy, he said. It is responsibility. He turned to Kunle again. And you, he said, will start where you failed. Kunle straightened. How? You will be present, Chief Adeyemi said. Not just with money, with time, with humility. Kunle nodded. I will. Chief Adeyemi stepped toward the door and looked outside. The rain had slowed. Then finally, it stopped. Sunlight pushed through the clouds, weak at first, then stronger, spreading across the wet market ground like a quiet promise. People gathered outside, whispering, watching as the black SUVs prepared to leave. Before stepping out, Chief Adeyemi turned back once more. "Let today be remembered," he said, "not for the kick, but for what followed." Kunle walked out after him, his head bowed, his heart changed. Kemi remained behind for a moment, alone in the store that had once felt powerful. Now it felt small. She looked at the chair where Mama Aduni had sat. Then she picked up a cloth and began to clean, not the floor, but herself from the inside out. Outside, the sun broke fully through the clouds, and for the first time that day, the market felt warm. If you were in any of their shoes, what would you have done differently?